Hello everyone, welcome to today's Prelims 360 session. In this session, we'll try to understand what to study, what not to study and how to study for the Prelims. So one of the important aspects that we need to understand while preparing for Prelims is how to acquire the knowledge, how to manage the knowledge and how to execute the knowledge. So the knowledge acquisition is the first phase of clearing the Prelims or any examination in the world. So then how we exactly knowledge the manage and how we exactly execute the knowledge in the examination all. So what is the the ready formula which is already been established in the market is a person who wants to clear a prelims, it goes through certain sources. The sources are NCERT, standard books, test series, etc. So for example, if I take current affairs into the example, like there are around 12 months of current affairs you have to study. So you per month there will be around 100 to 120 pages. So you need to remember around 1200 pages, whether it is possible to remember each and every facts present in the current affairs or whether it is possible to remember each and every line which is present in the Lakshmikant. It's technically not possible for a human being to handle such amount of information. So we need to understand where exactly we have to focus, where exactly we have to neglect, where we have to do deep level studying and where we have to do the surface level of study. Until and unless we don't set the demand of the process, we may not be able to deliver the things properly. So moving on to setting the demand, how we have to set the demand. So what is the way how to set the demand? So first of all, we have to understand the fact that is it possible to, we need to pose our question to ourselves, is it possible to remember each and every line of all these sources? Technically, it is not possible. Is it necessary to, first of all, is it necessary to remember all the facts in the above sources? So certainly not. So how I am saying it's not possible, like it is not at all necessary to remember all the facts which are mentioned in the designated sources. So why? Because the UPSC has left lot of evidences. So if you analyze the previous year papers properly, we'll come to know what are all the points that you have to study properly and we have to go deep into it, and what are all the topics that you are intelligently neglect. Until and unless you don't set the demand of the process, you will keep on running behind the knowledge, blindly running behind the knowledge. So having so much of information without having a right strategy, you may not able to clear the process. So first and foremost thing that you need to understand is what exactly UPSC prelims requires from you. So how to understand the demand of the UPSC prelims? We'll try to talk about it. So setting the demand is the first process in acquiring the knowledge. So what actually the ready formula that we have already discussed is you will blindly run behind the sources and you will think that each and everything which is present in those sources are important. So that is not the case. So the first and foremost thing is you have to analyze the previous year questions right from the 2011. Why 2011? The UPSC changed its pattern in 2011. And then after analyzing the previous, I will let you know how to analyze the previous year papers. After analyzing the previous year papers, you need to understand, you'll get a framework like the WWH. It stands for what to study, what not to study and how to study. And once you understand what to study and what not to study, you will get a framework or a kind of a prism. Through this prism, you will look through the sources. It's like what exactly I have to study. So if you follow this practice, you can able to acquire the right knowledge. If you are able to acquire the right knowledge, what happens? The knowledge load will be very less. So since the knowledge load is very less, you can easily able to manage the knowledge properly. We have seen a lot of people who find a lot of difficulty in revising the things that they have studied so far. So if they are not able to revise properly, then obviously they may not able to execute the knowledge in the examination. Almost all the serious candidates usually stuck in 50-50. So 50-50 is like a syndrome. Like what are the root cause of this poor knowledge management, poor knowledge execution is you are not acquiring the knowledge properly. If you acquire the knowledge properly, it would become a very easy thing to manage the knowledge and execute the knowledge. How to analyze the previous year question? So many of the people have confused themselves between analysis of the previous year papers and solving previous year papers. The solving previous year papers is nothing but you will solve the paper, you look through the solutions and you'll come to know the answer, that's it. Analyzing the previous year questions is nothing but you will be understanding what sort of questions they have been asking. So whether they are asking factual question, conceptual clarity based question, how many questions have been asked by polity, or how many questions have been asked by UPSC in economy, environment. So what exactly they are asking, whether they are focusing on each and every topic in the polity, or whether they are largely focusing on fundamental rights, DPSP, whether they are focusing on political parties, non-constitutional bodies. If they ask questions on non-constitutional body, how exactly they are asking. Like, we need to understand how exactly UPSC is asking question on the various topics of UPSC prelims. So that's what the analysis is. The solving is, you will just solve the paper and you will not care about what are all the questions which have been asked by the UPSC in the last 4 to 5 years, or per se 10 years. So we'll try to analyze the papers by taking a particular topic. Then you will come to know what to study and what not to study for the prelims. Consider a scenario, I have to study polity. So most of the people will be studying polity from the Lakshmikant. In the first reading, you will go through each and every line of it. But while you underlining the things, or further, for example, you have to fix certain topics for the second revision or third revision. How exactly you will fix certain topics for the second revision or third revision? Or how exactly you will highlight the certain important factors in fundamental rights or DPSP or whatever it may be, the chapter in the Lakshmikant. So before reading the Lakshmikant, I'll chart out the previous year questions. For charting out the previous year questions, you can take the previous year question, or you can download the previous year question right from the UPSC website itself. Otherwise, in the various websites have already segregated or publications have segregated the quality questions under one umbrella. For example, the last 10 years questions of polity, and they have divided based on the topics itself. You try to go through those documents. If you try to go through these documents, you'll come to know why UPSC is focusing on certain elements or certain topics in each and every year. For example, if you consider 2021 paper, we got 2 questions on fundamental rights. The first question was on Article 21, like right to privacy. The second question was on Article 40. In 2019, we got question on the fundamental rights itself. It also talks about Article number 21. So in the 2021 also, we got question on Article number 21. So why these questions? Because UPSC has been asking questions on fundamental rights right from 2011. So likewise, we need to understand the focus areas in the polity book itself. The fundamental rights, you have to read each and every line. For example, likewise in polity, we got too many questions on various topics. For example, DPSP, Parliament, historical background to the Constitution. In 2021 prelims, we got question on like Government of India Act 1935. In 2019, we got question on the historical background to the Constitution itself. Likewise, every alternative here, we are getting question on historical background to the Constitution. So the DPSP part, in 2021 also we got one question, 2020 also we got one question. Each and every year we are getting questions on for DPSP, fundamental rights and Parliament. So likewise, you need to understand where exactly the UPSC eating polity book, like or polity subjects. So based on that, you need to understand what to study in the Lakshmikant. In the first reading, you have to study each and every line, each and every topic which is mentioned in any standard book. While referring any sources, you need to understand what to study and what not to study. For example, Lakshmikant, since if you analyze the previous year papers properly, we are not getting good number of questions on non-constitutional bodies, political parties, or national working committee, like national committee which was constituted to assess the working of the Constitution. So those topics that you can intelligently neglect. Or for example, non-constitutional body, try to understand 3 to 4 important elements, like who appoints them, who removes them, and what is the powers, 1 or 2 powers and functions of them. You do surface level study on such kind of topics. But the DPSP, Parliament, there are a number of topics in Lakshmikant. We'll talk about it after some time. So try to go through those topics in bit by bit, so that you can easily able to understand the demand of the process properly. Like, we came to know how to analyze the previous year papers, and we also came to know some of the important topics which are present in the polity subject. For example, fundamental duties, fundamental rights, DPSP, etc. Likewise, the same principle can be applied for various subjects. So if you go through the previous year papers of at least last 10 years, you'll come to know there are certain areas from where UPSC has been asking questions again and again and again. So I have jotted down certain topics here. So the recurring topics are called as themes. So if you thematize the whole previous year papers, you'll come to know that there are certain themes. So genetic engineering, rivers, banking and monetary policy, external sector of Indian economy, new types of agriculture, Buddhism. Likewise, there are many number of themes which are already present in the previous year papers itself. It's a kind of a hidden syllabus. So if you understand where exactly what UPSC asking question and what exactly they're asking out of various themes, you can easily able to prepare properly, so that you can easily able to understand what to study and what not to study with respect to prelims. So far we have understood what to study and what not to study for the prelims. For example, we came to know that the parliament is one of the most important topic for the Indian polity, but how to study parliament? Or how, for example, we came to know that genetic engineering is one of the most important topic, but genetic engineering, so you can do PhD on genetic engineering itself. So if you keep on acquiring the knowledge on the genetic engineering, probably you may not able to acquire knowledge on other topics. So you should know where to draw the line. So in order to understand where to draw the line, we need to understand how to study those topics or how to study those themes. So those things will be discussed in the next class. So far we have understood what to study, what not to study for the prelims. So which are all the areas we have to focus in order to get the rich dividends, so that we can able to acquire the right knowledge. If you are able to acquire the right knowledge, you can easily manage the knowledge and execute the knowledge. So we came to know what to study and what not to study, but still we need to understand how to study those topics, how to study those themes. So I request all of you to go through the previous year papers and understand from where exactly UPSC asking question. You can take the ready compilations, or you can download the PDFs right from the UPSC website itself. Try to enumerate, try to write it on the paper, like from where exactly you are getting the question. Based on that, you try to generate your own themes. So once you are done with the themes part, so you next will try to understand how to study those themes. So that is one of the most important part, because we have to draw the line. We have to stop ourselves in gaining the knowledge. So those elements will be discussed in the next class. Thank you so much.